Hello, and welcome back to Factorio Vanilla 1.0. I started here in map mode because we can take a look at how much our pollution is spread. So we're getting close to this group of biters here, and I guess these ones aren't too far off behind, but really that group up there is the biggest problem. The good news is, in order to get to us, they have to go around here and through this line of turrets. The bad news is that if we don't go kill them, then they're going to affect the evolution for every drop of pollution they absorb. So we're going to end up going out there and killing them sometime in the next episode or two. But I wanted to start this episode, other than doing this, of course, by talking about what I did off camera. And of course, I don't have good radar coverage. But I went through and put all the belts down in the mall. At least most of the belts. I may not have gotten quite all of them. All the belts, except for these last few over here that are dedicated for the new stuff over here, but I did not put down any assemblers. So we're going to do that today and talk about the different parts of the mall. But what I figured we'd also need at some point very soon is some more iron here in order to have more iron smelting and or steel smelting. So I came out here just before I started recording today and laid out a few more miners onto this field, and it happens to be exactly 90, which is exactly 3 belts worth until we start getting some mining speed research, which comes a little bit later, I think. Actually here, mining productivity research, I should say. So we're actually almost there. We have a couple of things in the way, some of which we can probably go ahead and do, like plastics. I don't see why we can't do that. I guess I should also do this partial belt here, just for the purposes of setting up miners on the entire minefield. But this one here, I want to do something slightly different with, or actually not slightly different than stuff we've seen before, but we have 7 miners, so that's of course uneven. But what I want to do is just do that that shifter method here, so that we can shift. No, actually I'm going to do it on this side, I think. So we can shift as much as we can to the outside of the belt, but still let it flow through on the near side of the belt if we can. So this is a great case for one of these type of shifters, because it still lets it flow through on the near side, or on the the product side, whether it's the near side for miners or the far side for inserters, but it also forces it onto the opposite side if necessary. So we're going to add that in here too as well. So we're going to just count this though as 3 belts, even though it's technically 4. But I'm going to do that first by bringing these all down here. And I'm not going to bother with a 5-to-4 balancer, because they're not very efficient anyway. But we can look at what each of these rows contain. So that one there, that belt is 7 miners. That's basically nothing. This one here is 21. That's 2/3-ish. 24, that's a bit more than 2/3-ish. 24 again, and 21 again. So each of these is a little bit less than a belt. And so we can kind of just do a lazy compression method here, I think. Just by putting down enough splitters to make a difference, kind of thing. And then passing some of them through. And maybe I should have had like one over here, and maybe one like that. Just put it on a handful of splitters. And I'm not going to bring this one through any further than right in here, I don't think. Although maybe I should do one like that. But I do want to have, 1, 2, 3 belts coming out of here. So we're going to have a 3rd belt coming out of here, and I'm going to run that back to the base. And it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect. All it needs to do is make sure that all 5 of those belts get compressed down into 3. And that should be fine. As you can see, I'm just shifting as best as I can. And then it's going to use it unevenly, but I don't totally care, because a lot of what I care about for this is just getting the whole mining field set up and making sure that I can use it when it's time. Whoa! And that's the problem with doing running belts with the car, is the car has weird steering and doesn't snap, which is why I was talking about that vehicle snap mod in a previous episode. So I have to be careful, because you see the car is shifting northward, upward, slightly every so often, and running into trees every so often. So maybe I'd be better off if I kind of came down a little bit. Maybe something like that. I gotta watch out for trees here too, and we're going back up again. Okay, and I'm gonna stop there because I'm not sure how I want to realign these. And I don't know that I'm going to use this right away either. We're going to need to get some steel over here very fast. Maybe I could use that third belt for steel. But I could also use use this iron over here for steel by belting it over, because I think I'm going to maybe do a sort of back row here for steel, and then a back row in here, well, actually right in here, because they're shorter, for stone, because stone uses 2 stone per brick. Here it is. 2 stone per brick, so you only need a half array for stone. This one is 48 here. We only need 24 for stone smelting. And that's just because stone uses 2 items per, so you can only use... 1 belt of stone becomes a half belt of bricks. Okay, so, but I want to go over here to the mall, because we hooked up iron last time, but only to the belt array. And like I said, I ran the belts through, or basically through, but what I didn't do was run anything else, and I did not hook up any machines. Oops. So what I did here is I have to put this underground, because this is the maximum length, and I have a splitter here. I have to put this underground in line. Well, I could do this a couple different ways. And in fact, the other way might be better. So let's change this. I can either put it where I interfere with that 4th belt, 3 and 4 here, or I can put it to where I just have to shift over after the fact. And I think that might be the better idea. Since I did it that way to start with, I'll do it this way instead. To shift this way like this, and then you end up just doing something like that. Either way is valid. It just depends on what looks better to you. But don't fret over it either way. And of course, we're just going to split off of that belt for now and take that copper in... Oops. Take the copper onto a half belt. I almost messed this up. Only a half belt of copper, half belt of steel. And like I talked about... No, actually, this one doesn't do it. Okay, never mind. I think there's a spot down there, or maybe there isn't for copper and steel, but sometimes the copper and steel is split off, and it's done using a method. Actually, maybe I should. No, I shouldn't do this one. Never mind. I'm gonna make sure I get these lined up right, because if you mess this up, then it's all a nightmare. Okay, and then splitter here, and then we'll do the reverse belt there and come in here. And these will get fixed once I have 4 belts of copper. I'll just shift these splitters down, and they'll be fine still. So as you can see here, like this one, I put the splitter in because the splitter needs to be there for the through belt, but this side shunts this over to this extra part. I didn't bother putting those belts down. And we need to hook up some more iron too, by the way. There's 2 more belts of iron right here. So what I want to do for this is we have a stone and a stone brick here that's coming in. So I want to actually adjust these a little bit. Like this maybe. Let's see. You go there. You go down 1 more. And then into there. And that's just so that I can easily get a pair of undergrounds in here for the stone and stone brick later. And then also having extra splitters here like this. Doing the shifting. In order to get as much of a half belt, because these are going to split half and half. Oh, this one will be a full belt. But in order to get as much of a half belt as I can down into these arrays. Because we're only bringing 2 belts in. So right off, we're splitting 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. We don't want to send a full belt down into one of these arrays. I don't have a lot of blue inserters, so I need to make some. But here you can see, and I'm still using the Mark 1 machines, which is fine, although I do want to switch to the Mark 2s, or the level 2s, or the whatever 2s. Let's just do this the way that I talked about the last time, and putting down the inserters that all face the same direction at the same time to make my life marginally easier. We'll also do those. Oops, I didn't do these. Okay, so we need to bring power across to this side. One way, of course, would be to go through the... there's a few different ways here. Catherine gave us some options. So one way is that, just connecting it to this small power pole bus we have. You can see there's a large power pole here. I assumed that is to bring power into this monstrosity at a later date. So we're going to go ahead and put these down. Oh, that connected. Oh, it didn't connect up here. Oopsie. Well, I'm going to connect it anyway, just to make sure that everything is okay. So you can see we're now making pipes. And we're making gears. We have basically a belt and a half of gears, although these aren't, oh, these aren't placed. These aren't doing a whole lot in this direction. They're mostly going in that direction for some reason. Not sure why that is. Possibly it's just the speed of the machines, probably. Let's go ahead and replace these, actually. And even these ones here. That's all I have anyway. Okay, so the first thing we of course need to do here is put down the machines and whatnot for the... trying to find all of them. For these inserters, because the inserters are the next most important thing. And actually we need to hook up another green circuit belt right here. So this I'm going to do like I did this copper and steel belt over here. I'm going to end up with a little off shift. Actually, no, I don't need to because there's not an iron belt here. Good. Okay, never mind. Never mind. And then nothing to see here. You know what? Actually, I lied. I am going to do it that way. And the reason I'm going to do it that way is because this needs to be half green circuits, half red circuits. So I needed a space to bring the red circuits in here later. And so then I'm just going to do that to bring this in line with the mall inputs. So that'll bring some green circuits onto this belt and put them down this line in order to make both the yellow and the blue inserters. And we need some more steel chests. Good thing I have a bunch of steel on me. We also need some iron chests. Because I don't think I've put down the... although we don't really need that one yet. I'll go and put that one down even though we don't need it. You can go there, you can go there, and there. You're there. We don't really need this one, but I'll put it down anyway. There's some lights here that I haven't been putting down either. Okay, assembler. Output, input. So she has the iron stealing directly off the line here. That shouldn't be a problem because you don't use that many red inserters. But if you do, and you don't like that idea, I suppose you could split it off and bring it here, like kind of facing the copper belt here a little bit, and have the inserter coming off of that. That wouldn't be an inappropriate change, I guess. But this, we need red inserters here and here. And those just bring in the yellow inserters to make the reds and the blue inserters to make the purples. That's all those are for. So there's some circuit wires on these. We saw the circuit wires on these as well. What the circuit does is it's reading the contents of the box. It's connected. You can barely see the wires connected there, but it's connected there. And it's connected to circuit network 5. And it's getting a signal right now of 51, now 52, 53 yellow inserters. That's how many are in this box. Keeps going up because we're adding them. And this will go into for as long as it's enabled, the yellow inserters are less than 100 in this box. So that excuse me, sorry. That little bit, once this gets to 100, this yellow inserter will stop. You're probably wondering why this one's not running, because it's also tied into that same circuit network, and now it's getting 70. And actually, we're going to see some action here in a second, because once this gets up to 75, this is going to enable this inserter when the yellow inserters in the box are greater than 75. So now that it's going to 76, it's now starting to move. You can see it in the little preview here, and it's starting to make blue inserters. And so now this red inserter, because it's not limited, will start grabbing blue inserters eventually, hopefully, for this box. I don't know why it's not. It's just another one of those machine things, probably. And then it's going to eventually offer some of the blue inserters to the purple inserters, and the rest of them are getting put into this box until that gets to 400. Now, the advantage of using the circuit limitations over using this limitation is, let's say that I go and clean up a bunch of stuff, and I have a bunch of yellow inserters left in my inventory. And I want to have... I want to be able to dump a bunch of yellow inserters off here so that they'll get made into blue inserters as I need the blue inserters. So if you limit this box like this, and you try to insert any more yellow inserters, it stops you here on the easy, like control clicking or shift clicking. It stops you here in the space that you have available in the not marked off spots. Yes, you can take that and drop another stack of them in, but you get to move one stack at a time, or you can clear this and then start shift clicking stacks to put more in. But that's kind of annoying and tedious. So it's easier just to say, oh, I'm going to control click and dump all my yellow inserters. Maybe I'll keep a stack or something to myself, but I want to dump them all in there. So by using the circuit limitations, that allows you to dump as much as you have into this box. So the box is full, of course. And then this inserter will start and stop depending on what's actually in the box. So that makes your life a little easier as you're getting into kind of recycling some stuff and some later game stuff. And I still don't know why this isn't doing what I thought it would do. But we need to set up the assembly machines here anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and set that area up as well. We need power poles down here, of course. There, and over there too. You and you. You and you. I'm clearing my cursor instead of rotating every time. It's kind of arbitrary. Oh, we need steel for the level 2s here. So I guess we'll be doing that very soon. But you can see we're making a bunch of level 1s. So I could dump the extra level 1s that I have here in this box for the same exact way that I could do for the yellow inserters, because these are also limited to just 50. But it allows me to dump any extras I have when I like upgrade all these machines to level 2. Then I can dump all my level 1s in this box, and this will just stop making level 1s at 50. And this will start grabbing them and using them to make level 2s. So that's the advantage to building the mall with circuit conditions. It's a lot of effort to do yourself. The first time, at least, we do have some. Look at that. I can take some of those now. I don't know why that one's not working. That's really weird. Is there an issue here? I don't know what the issue would be. What if I told you to stop? There, okay. Now it's swinging. It must just be a weird, like, inserted priority thing. I'm not worrying about it, because in the end, the mall will be full, and it won't matter. All right, we have mining drills now, so that's great. We also want to output, eventually, these into this box. And you can see there's a red inserter here grabbing from that box and doing the same kind of thing in order to make the level 3 assemblers here. Let's do another research, maybe sulfur. We're going to do oil soon-ish, so we'll have to have that for that anyway. I'm going to skip the rest of the belts, even though we can do red belts. I don't want them yet, because they're expensive iron-wise. They take a lot of gears, especially, and I don't want the expense of that, given the amount of iron that I have on my bus. Because you can see we're already kind of struggling a little bit here to keep a pace. But I do want some of this stuff later on down here. Because the belts are all together because one feeds the other and they kind of increase along the way. But the rest of these, the rest of the stuff is kind of early game stuff to later game stuff, kind of, but it's also kind of grouped by functionality. And then there's, of course, some miscellaneous stuff here in the middle. But I want to just go ahead and lay out the rest, or most of the rest of this mall. There and here. At least the stuff that we can make. We're going to need some steel in order to make the power poles here. So that's a very big focus of mine in the next episode or two. But actually, I also need to go and get some... maybe I'll go get some of the level 2 assemblers from the old starter base. That might be worth it. We could use some walls, but I don't have any stone brick coming in. So that's another very, very soon focus. What else can I do right now? Oh, I missed one. Missed two. Do the lights too. The iron boxes will be nice. Let's go down to the bottom. Oh, we can't do the steel box either. I don't have any steel on the bus. The lights would be good to do soonish. These we can do later. The oil stuff. Yeah, here's where the oh, those are the chain signals. That's the new chain signal icon, right? So here's the signals. This is where that belt came through before, and I moved that after the end of the last episode. So now we have cargo wagons and pumps and rail signals. This is probably the fluid cargo wagons, because we haven't researched them yet. The fluid wagons, and then I'm not sure what this is down here, but We'll get that when we get it. So let's see. Maybe we could do... I don't have one of those made. Let's do one of these, though. And one of these boxes. Let's grab this and this to bring the power in. And I'm going to put down a underground pipe here because we'll need those as we start getting fluids going in the liquid. So we might as well get them made because they take a little bit of time to make because they take so many pipes. 10 pipes each. Oh, I didn't put this one on. And also this will give us... Oh, that's interesting. That's not limited by the... Hey, you don't really recycle them, so I guess it doesn't matter. But it takes, 10 pipes and 5 iron plates, so it takes a while to make them. So I'm going to let that happen. A lot of the rest of the mall, we're going to need to have steel set up, so I think waiting to do some more stuff for the mall until we have steel is a good idea. We did do the repair... Yeah, the repair packs are going like crazy. The radars are going like crazy. Excellent. And look, the green circuit's getting used. That's awesome, too. And because we're pulling off of one side here, the green circuits kind of aren't very balanced. We could do a side balancer here, and I may do that eventually, but I may not, too. It's not that huge of a deal. Yeah, let's just keep doing these kind of oil-related things, explosives, batteries. We could do advanced electronics pretty soon. But I want to go back. Let's see. Let's go back to the old mall, or the starting base. And I want to gather up some stuff, and then let's start laying out our first steel smelting. Hey, look, there's a rock there. Our first steel smelting, and we can also potentially do a stone smelting, but we probably won't get that far. Let's see, this is going because I was actually out here gathering stuff, like belts, before we started. Let's see. Assembling machine 2. We're good on power poles. We're good on furnaces. I guess I could have dumped off some of this iron ore. Belts. We probably need some more. And I got some ammo. There's more ammo in the car, too, in the trunk of the car. Oh, the other thing I did. We have this chest of shame here that has now 3 pistols in it because I've died twice. And then there's the original pistol, of course. I also put that extra car that I made in there because this is where the spawn point is. So if I die again, I'm coming back here. This way I can run up here, grab the car, hopefully grab some coal. Maybe I'll put a stack of coal in there just to save my life or whatever kind of fuel. And then I can drive out to wherever I died at and rescue my body, rescue the other car perhaps, and then load back up and head back here and drop off one of the cars in the box again. So that's kind of my idea for keeping my sanity a little bit. We'll see how well that works out. Alright, so belts. Belts. Oh, we have 1,000 belts going in here. Yeah, we'll take, like, all of them. Sure. Furnaces, belts. Yellow inserters would be good. 200. That should last for a minute. Okay. So, the steel smelting that I do, there's 2 ways to smelt steel. Either way works. Just kind of depends on how much space you want it to take up, what you want it to look like. So steel, I think we had to talk about this a little bit, but steel takes 5 iron plates, but it takes 16 seconds. Iron takes 1 iron ore, but it takes 3.2 seconds. If you do the math on the difference between ratio between the 16 and 3.2, the ratio is 5. 5 times 3.2 is 16. And it happens to be 5 iron plates. So the great news is here you can direct feed iron plates into a steel smelter and make steel with a direct feed. So that's one way to do it, and that's the way that I prefer to do it. We got somebody chewing on something, and I don't have a radar out there to see what they're chewing on. I don't know if they're... I didn't read the tooltip. I think it's just shooting, but we're going to have to go out and clear some biters in the next episode. Let's pick up this rock. Excuse me, sorry. So there's the direct feed method, which works great. There's also the chain method, which is you take one of these smelters just like this one, and you put it at the end of another one like this. And in this one here, you smelt iron ore into iron, and that makes a full belt of iron plates. And then you run that into another one of these just like this, run that iron into the outside, just like the iron ore is here, and you smelt the iron plates into steel. Either way works. One is long and skinny, as you can see. It's like going to be like this long. The orientation here is wrong, but it's going to be like this long. Or you can have one that's like twice as wide, or not quite twice as wide, but the same length. I prefer this method, the direct feed method, because it seems to take up a little bit less total square footage, but it's completely up to you. So let's start with this as a template, maybe, or at least part of this, maybe not the whole thing. I'll just take the first little bit, that much of it, and I'm going to come back a little bit. But we'll start with this as a template. Let's back this out, and let's also widen this by quite a bit. I don't know if that's too wide. I don't really know. But we need to put in... So those two furnaces are going to take the iron ore and the coal off of this side like this. The coal, of course, is going to come through the middle like that. And these are going to take the iron ore and the coal and smelt them into iron plates. And then these are going to feed... I don't know if I want the light here or not. I'll have to figure out the whole power situation. Oh, I need to use medium power poles for this. Oh, good, I have plenty of steel to make them out of. Make a bunch. We actually can't use the wooden power poles with this method. There's a variant of the method that I'm going to use in order that if you want to use the wooden poles. But I just, at this point, I usually have enough steel set up like I have here in that starter base that I can get by in order to make one of these to make plenty of steel to start the game with, or start the mid game with. So here in the middle, you know what? I don't have any red inserters either. I have some. We're almost out of iron. Okay. You know what? Let me dump that bit of iron off here. So that it gets used. So in the middle here, we're going to have two belts. We're going to have one that's coming in, and this is the coal belt. I'm going to put it here. And one that's coming out, and that is the output belt of steel. So the output goes like this, and then the input, because the coal belt is further away, ends up being via red inserter like this. And that works fine because coal is super slow, and actually steel is super slow, which we're going to see here in a minute. Did I do that? Oh my goodness, I eyeballed this perfectly. I never do that. Okay, so this is the same thing mirrored on the other side here. We have iron ore coming in, and coal coming in here, and we have then the iron ore getting passed into these to make the steel, and then we have input of iron or of coal from this belt here, and then output of steel onto the output belt here. So in order to accommodate this, we need to have a splitter here putting the coal onto this belt for them to be able to pick it up to use it, and then that can pass through. And then of course we need to have this set up as per usual, although I think I will move it down here just so that it's nearer the center. I like it near the center. It's arbitrary, I know, but that's how I like it. So we're going to do it like this, and then that goes that way, this goes this way, that comes out because that's that belt, I guess, and then this can go like this, and that's good. So that's one entire section. And now we just need to extend this out however many times. That many times. It's 24. We already have 2, so 12 more times. Or 12 total times, not 12 more times. All right, so we're going to grab this all 4 segments. So we capture every piece, every inserter, every belt, every furnace. And I'm going to do like 4 total. And then I'm going to copy it again just so I don't have to do so much duplication. And then we have, wait, how many is that? 16. So then this is 24. So that's a steel smelting array. And then we'll just have to fill it in. I'm going to do a little bit here to accommodate power because I didn't put that in because I was being kind of dumb. But you can see where the power covers. And we need to make sure the power covers everything. So we can do power like this. And then I think we can skip all the way to here. Yep, like this. And then like that. So there's a little bit of overlap here in the middle, two tiles. But you can see that we're only needing you know, we're only going to need, what's that, 8, probably like 16 power poles for the whole thing, versus how many are in one of these? 25 in just one in just a regular smelting array. So these medium power poles really help matters a lot because they have much wider range. You don't have to make them as nearly as often, and they fit perfectly in this between those belts. So it's a really nice sort of layout array. Yeah, we have 16 power poles versus in one of these alone is 25. I picked up too much there. 20, 24. 25 because of that one, 24. So there's a lot less. I mean, they're still more expensive. They cost steel. They cost copper versus this just cost steel and iron versus this costing a wood and a copper. So they're more expensive, but it's also a lot more efficient. In order to do this with wooden power poles, you need to actually adjust some spacing because you can't get them in this line because this line is packed with inserters. So I will fill this out myself off camera, and we'll bring that third belt of steel, at least for now, along here, or belt of iron, I should say, along here and down into here. And I can also split the coal off up here and bring it down into here, and then we'll have steel being smelted in the beginning of the next episode. But before I do that, I want to demonstrate quickly how to do a stone smelter. And literally you just take the first half, the first 24 furnaces off of one of these. It doesn't matter which one of these. They're all the same. And I eyeballed just wrong as far as positioning. But it can go like right there. And then once I have cliff explosives, once we have oil going, I can finish this out. But we're not going to need, I mean, I could do a second one or something like that. We're not going to need a whole lot of stone to start the game with. So if I do 2 of these like this, that'll be two entire belts of stone, which I don't know that we're going to be able to get coming in here, and then only 1 belt of stone bricks coming out. So I will place these all down in between now and the next episode, and when you guys join me the next time, we can probably go do some biter hunting. Oh, yes, we can. We're going to clear this nest and that nest at least, probably this one and maybe that one as well. Ooh, good, there's a nice big stone patch out here. And then we'll have to get these at some point as well. These guys eventually, and those guys are way off. These guys are way off. So we'll have to clear at least these ones in this area in the next episode. So a little bit of biter hunting next time. And then we'll come back and probably start working on science on the bus. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.